Okay, it is a health information technology for economic and clinical health act. So something what it does, it maintains, okay, it maintains entire health information, protects health information according to the law. Okay, certain laws are created. Based on that, it is going to adapt to it, strengthen it, and same time it will improve the privacy and security and breaching accountability of the patient electronic protected health information. So, Health Information Technology for Economic and Clinical Health Act strengthens the HIPAA. So, what it does strengthens the HIPAA. If it strengthens the HIPAA, what happens? Your patient health information. Yes, I'll continue.
Awesome.
Okay, so what it basically does, it strengthens the HIPAA. If it strengthens the HIPAA, automatically all other aspects whichever related to the electronic patient health, the PHI informations, okay, all this will be protected. Same time, it will get improved and it will get adapted and it will be secured. In case any breaching is happening, that information will be relayed across the places where it need to be relayed. If you remember, I was telling you in the previous when I'm discussing about HIPAA. So when it comes more than 5 individuals are getting affected, that need to be relayed to the entire organization and the people who are related to that. Okay, so like that, the high tech it is going to provide a strong support for the protecting the electronically protected health information. Okay, that is what the main role does by the high tech. It is a hack which will be maintained by the federal government. Then Then comes core high-tech compliance requirements. Here, these are the core important elements which need to be followed when it comes for the high-tech act. Safeguarding the electronic protected health information. So organization must implement administrative, physical, and technical safeguards. Okay, that is what I'm trying to tell. So that need to be protected. In what basis? It need to be implemented administrative, physical, and technical safeguards, role-based access controls, unique user ID and password, encryption of the data at the rest and in transit, and automatic log off system. So these all are the safeguard electronic. So even which you have seen in the privacy of the what is that, a privacy rule. If you remember administrative safeguard rule which we have seen in the under the privacy rule for the HIPAA, in that also we have seen the same scenario, same kind of point which will be coming under the act. Okay, HITECH. So what is HITECH Act is doing? It is centering the HIPAA. When I'm centering the HIPAA means whatever the aspects coming in the HIPAA, I'm going to protect it. In that, one of the thing is like safeguarding the electronic PHI. Okay, that is protected health information. So we have to provide the access control, unique ID and password, encryption of data should be there, and automatic log off should be there. These are very, very mandatory for the safeguard electronic PHI. Then breaching detection and notification. If you remember, same point here again. When the more than 500 individuals are affected, that need to be informed to the Human and Health Services. That is Department of Human and Health Services. If more than 500 people are affected, means we need to inform that any breach is there, that we need to maintain a log for that and notify affected individual within 60 days. These are the requirements when it comes for the high-tech mandatory timely breach reporting. Okay, so failure to notify is equal to high-tech violation. Failure to notify. Remember, exam point of view, failure to notify the breach of the patient health information or protected health information is going to be under what? High-tech violation. They may ask you the question, HIPAA violation, high-tech violation, something like that. They may ask you the question. Remember, it's a high-tech violation when you are missing to notify. Then risk analysis and risk management. Next element is risk analysis and risk management. This also we have seen in that. So organization must conduct a regular risk assessment, identify the vulnerabilities in the patient health protected health record, implementing the mitigation plans, then document all the actions. These are the four important management analysis, risk management analysis, which need to be maintained by the organization so that we will not be entering into the any breach or will not be losing any data. So the trigger, exam trigger, periodic security risk assessment is equal to high-tech compliance. What they're trying to tell, when I'm doing it a timely basis, risk assessment, under what it is coming? It is coming under HITECH-Act. It is coming under high-tech compliance. That is what risk analysis and risk management. See, there is a small bridge between the HIPAA and the high-tech. We need to be very careful because the questions are closely related to that. At the same time, it is going to be the supporting documentation for both type of systems. Okay, so we should be little careful on it. Okay, then business associated compliance. Okay, so ITEC extends HIPAA liability to the business associates, which means they should have proper communication, they should have the proper agreements, especially if you see business associated agreements, ensure vendor meet the security standards, monitor the third party access to the PHI. So when I'm going to get the project, when I'm going to acquire the project or going to hunt the project, I should be a person who is being under the HIPAA liabilities. HIPAA liability means I should be answer for the HIPAA. Okay, so which means like if you're going to get the project, I need to ensure all these administrative safeguard, privacy rule, and what is a patient safeguarding. Okay, all this I should be under that, under the HIPAA. I need to follow each and every compliances. Okay, that is what it says as HIPAA liability to the business associates. Now, this is directly extends to the high-tech. So when I'm coming under the HIPAA, automatically it will be taken control by the HITECH-Act. That is what I'm trying to tell. Business associated agreements, ensure the vendor meets security standards, monitor the third party access to the EPH. Okay, this is all related to the business associated compliance. Then audit controls and monitoring. Yes, it's very simple. Track the system access and data modifications. Then review the logs for the unauthorized activities. These all are very, very important when it comes under the audits. Then employee training and awareness. Yes, compliance training need to be provided, HIPAA training need to be provided, IMS training to be provided, that is information security training should be provided. So this all comes under the HITECH-Act, which is like regular HIPAA and high-tech training need to be provided, security awareness education need to be provided, sanction policy for the violations need to be provided by the organizations. Then meaningful use and promoting the interoperable. So it is like how when it comes for under the person who is interchanging the information, how it need to be secured. High-tech supports EHR used through the CMS program. So key focus is like secure electronic data exchange, patient access to the health information, accurate clinical documentation. So these all are the interoperable information and the key features for the EHR documentation when it comes under the HITECH-Act. So high-tech supports EHR, okay, EHR to maintain, to ensure it has been shared with the patient and it accuracy is maintained and it is secure. That is what mainly here. Then patient health enhancement, like high-tech expands patient rights. Okay, so what it does, it is coming under the HIPAA means at least you should have the access to the patient. So in that scenario, what it does, obtain the electrical copies of the record, request the accounting of disclosures, restrict the certain disclosures. Okay, so patient will have the authority. Now the HITECH-Act is providing the liability and it providing the eligibility for the patients to make sure they are able to access and move and review or share the documentation. Okay, that will be ensured. So there will be a question. Patient right enhancement is done by the HIPAA or high-tech. Who is responsible? High-tech is responsible for among this. Like that, the questions will come. So you need to be little careful. Okay, so you need to think and do the things. What is the high-tech and what is HIPAA? What HIPAA does, it has a compliance. It will maintain, it will safeguard, it will protect everything. It will do. It is all done by the HIPAA. To provide additional support, we can think like this. For a daughter, even though she's a good, who is going to support for her father? Okay, high-tech is like a father and HIPAA is like a daughter. Even though daughter knows everything, father will provide a strength and he will adapt to a daughter and he will provide the improvement for our daughter. Okay, so that is what a high-tech does. So keep it in the mind. This is associated study. In the exam, when you think about this, think it in that way, so that your logical brain will give you what is the correct answer. Okay, so high-tech is going to be the extended support or extended strength for the HIPAA. Okay, the questions are going to be interrelated. We cannot think everything is HIPAA. Something will come under the high-tech. So you need to understand that scenario, then you have to come to the conclusion. That is very, very mandatory. Okay, then high-tech and HIPAA, yes, that is the reason I included here. Scope, HIPAA, privacy and security, high-tech strengthens the enforcement. So whatever is followed in HIPAA, that will be strengthened by the high-tech. Breaching notification is limited in HIPAA. where in high tech it is mandatory. If any breach is happening, yes, we have to inform to the certain people, but what is the action we can take? Okay, but when you are coming under HITECH-Act, definitely you will be screwed out. Will be sued out completely. Will be rolled out from entire industry itself. That is what high tech will ensure. Then penalties, lower penalties, whereas in high tech, higher penalties. Business associate are indirect because they don't involve, which means they get approval. They'll get ISO approval, HIPAA approval, they may get, but they will not get any effects. Okay, but when it comes under high tech act, you are directly liable, you are responsible to answer when it comes for the business associates. Okay, some real world compliance workflow. So implement a certified EHR, encrypt all EPHI, then perform annual risk assessment, train workforce, monitor access logs, report breaches promptly. High tech complaints, this all is maintained by the high tech complaints. Okay. So that's all we have for the high tech as well. Okay. It's not a big topic, it is a kind of small topic only. Okay.